Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Success Shift. We are here with an awesome interview. Someone who has also had a bit of an influence on my trading. This guy, very, very stoked that he's here with me today. He was an accountant for years until in 2004, he stumbled onto a little ad in a magazine, which kind of changed his life a little bit in the world of trading. I think it was Spread Bet that influenced him to put $50 on some oil, and that in his first trade turned into $5,000. So naturally, he wanted to figure out how he could do that again and again and figure out the tricks of the trades and the secrets. He picked it up pretty quickly, and in 2005, bought the company that he was actually working for multiple seven figures, which is very impressive. And then in 2008, I believe, when everyone was freaking out about the Great Recession and everyone was going into panic, this man did the opposite because he had the knowledge and the skills, and he actually bought a block of land and built a 3-story factory on top of it. And yeah, absolutely made that work for him with borrowing little money from the banks because, well, the banks pretty much had no money to lend, but he was all right with it. He's been trading since 2000. He's been teaching trading since 2014. So almost 10 years of teaching under his belt. An incredible educator. He's actually credited to, I'm not sure if he's aware of this, but credited to the inspiration for my very first trading plan, which if you're a trader, you'll know is a very important step and a very crucial element to your success in trading. He counts cards. He's been a co-author with, he's been written his own multiple books, shall I say, all about mindset. He loves risk management and awesome Gates system for compounding finances in both business and in trading, which I cannot wait to get stuck into in a little bit. But before we get into all that good stuff, James Leone, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, my friend?
All good. Thank you. No worries. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. So before we get into some of the awesome tips that you've got in business and compounding, tell us a little bit about young James. What was young James like? I'm sure going into, teenage years and onwards, he wasn't really ready for trading millions of dollars. What was your
Are
junior?
you sure you want that? They're not good stories, you know. Are you sure you want that far back?
Yeah, give us what you got. Let's see the
Carefully now,
transformation.
but okay.
I like to
All
get
right.
right
Well,
down to it.
I was born in 1964 to parents that didn't want kids. I was the
Right.
younger of two, and my sister raised me, as far as I remember, until she was about 14 or 15, and then she ran away from home, leaving me at home at about 8 or 9. And it was a couple of years after that that I was taken by a foster family, literally taken off the street by a foster family who I think turned my life around. Without them,
Bless him.
I would probably be on drugs, in prison, a waster. I would definitely be a waster. I grew up in Liverpool. What else, you know? That's it. But I got great advice and great guidance from my foster family. They're wonderful people. They're still alive to this day, and I love them very, very much. They've,
That's awesome.
guided me loads. I really appreciate them. Their own children are my sisters and brothers. I've still got my real sister, and we do keep in touch. But the family means loads to me.
That's awesome.
Once I started working, I took my mum's advice, my foster mum's advice, and she said, "Chase the money, lad." And I caught it. But I told her I was getting into trading. And even she said, "Oh, you're mad," because I told her I was going to get out the company. I'm leaving it. It's,
Yep.
I put all the bad side. It's 50, 60 hours a week in your own business. I'm here, I'm away from home. And but it's your own business and you get this and you give yourself. And she gave me all the benefits. And I said, yes, but in 15 minutes, looking at a chart, I will make a week's wages or the equivalent of what I pay myself in a week.
Yeah.
And she sat and looked at me and she said, "Are you sure about this, lad?" And I said, "Yeah, you told me to chase the money."
I'm
And
chasing
she
it.
said, "All right, well, I can't argue with that then." And she didn't hold me back. I've been here since.
Lovely. So she had all the support. I think that's amazing when you get that kind of support from family. I mean, my my family situation's nowhere near the same, but my mum raised me on her own for a year and a bit, and then I had a lovely stepdad who raised me as my father. He is my father today, and they're both very supportive. So I did the engineering thing, went in, got my 6 months
Yeah.
degree, and then I was like, yeah, I'm going to pack everything up and travel the world and figure out how to make money in a different way. And they were like, are you sure you want to do that? Maybe stick it out for a couple of years. And I was like, nope, I want to go live. And so they did, and they supported me. God bless them. And I think that in itself is half the reason why I'm able to get to the point I am today and continue to
I'd
chase that
suggest
gold.
the other half is that you're an engineer. I always find that engineers, techies, computer engineers, computer technicians, they're the guys that break the mold in terms of, usually when I'm teaching someone, I see this learning curve and it's a price curve. The value of their account comes down, 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 usually by about 50 or 60%, and then it starts to take off. Now, this one computer techie I taught, he had a 10 grand demo account. It dropped to 9,700. And then within a week, it was 27,000 or something. And I said, what are you doing different? And he said, no, you showed me a pattern. I followed a pattern.
Yeah. That's that discipline. That's amazing.
I think it's the tech as well. You know, they understand there is a process. I must just run the process.
Yeah, well, I wish my story was as quick and successful as that one. I mean, I've got maybe the tech brain, but it hasn't been quite as smooth sailing as that. But, you know, always learning, always moving forward. Yeah. So you did accounting for many years, and then tell us about the lovely advert that you found.
Yeah, it was random. I was on an airplane, probably Ryanair, but I was heading to the UK, and in the back of the, the seat pocket, there was this, it was a magazine called Shares, still available, Shares it was called. And in it, there's an article written by Simon, I've forgotten his surname for the moment, but he's the chartist in the Shares magazine. And it was all about, look at this chart. This is why oil will go to $100 a barrel. It's at $77 a barrel now. And I'm reading it thinking, oh, whoop-de-sodden do. And there's me with a Jaguar at home. And yeah, I need a fuel truck following me around before long, won't I? $100 a barrel. But his logic was, take a 205-litre barrel and pour a litre of water into it that you've bought from Asda, Tesco, Walmart, wherever. And then tell me how much it cost you to fill that barrel. Then tell me oil is expensive at $100 a barrel. And I thought, that makes sense. In the same magazine were articles about spread betting, and it was all no tax. Of course, in Great Britain and in Ireland, there is no tax on spread betting. So I thought, I like that idea. I really like that. I want some of that.
Yeah.
So this was a random Thursday. And on the random Monday after, I opened an account with no knowledge whatsoever. And it said, we recommend you'd open an account with $5,000. So I thought, okay, boom, credit card, $5,000. And then stupidly, with no knowledge, €50, buy, bang. And I hit the button. And then I thought, I don't want to know if it wins or loses. And I logged out. I shut it down and I went for lunch. I thought I might lose $50. I thought I might win $50. This will be a laugh. I'll see. And then I came back after lunch and I did a bit of work and I sent a memo. I don't know, I forget. But it was some like 2.5 hours since I'd placed the trade. And I thought, I wonder, did I make that $50 or am I down $50? And I logged in and the account balance was over $10,000. What?
Yeah.
And to say, I'd like to use polite words, but it's very difficult to, how do you say, oh, okay, yeah, I soiled myself. I didn't, but I wanted to.
Holy shit,
how do I get out of this now? What have I done? And I panicked quite a lot and I closed the trade. Now, obviously, hindsight's 2020. I should have just locked in and let it run, but I didn't know then. I knew none of that then. After I'd closed the trade and my heart rate had dropped down a bit and I'd had another couple of cups of coffee, I began thinking to myself, what did I do? How did I do it? And can I do it again? That's the more important question. Can I repeat that process? Because for me back then, $5,000 was more than 1 month's salary. And I'd done it in 2 and a bit hours. So
it's not bad.
I know I want to do that again.
Yeah, I like that feeling. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I knew I had to get smart. So I subscribed immediately to that magazine and I read it cover to cover and I read everything about charts and I went on to, we had the internet back then. So I was looking on that. I'm very fortunate that I grew up in Liverpool because we're very, we're allergic to scams, if you like. And there's so many out there. That's why I began teaching, literally because of the scams out there. So I wanted people to be able to pay one fee, learn the stuff, and get what they need. And then if they need something else, not have the upsell hell of, oh, didn't that work? For only another X amount of dollars, something else. Just, well, you're in the group. What do you need? Why isn't that working for mentorship,
That's super important.
That's what I thought was a better approach to doing it all. And I'd like to think I've helped to eliminate that level of scare. I'd like to think, I don't know if I have, but certainly I don't get any negative feedback on anywhere generally so far. And the last of the greatest trades I called, if you're watching GU at all, back on the 22nd of June, and it's proved, I've got a video of it. If we go above 128.50 on the GU, we're going to 132 and then 137. As at now, it's 131.20. So we're well on the way. I wasn't wrong. And I haven't been wrong in any of those major calls. Touch loads of wood now. Touch loads of wood. I haven't been wrong in any of those major calls. But that's because I got smart with the chart.
Yeah,
I think that, I keep looking over there because that's where my charts
screen is. Yeah.
But that's, that, you know, the chartist made an impression on me. And I thought, he's using a chart to get that information. The price is there and that's where it's going. And if you bet on it, spread betting is that $77.00 to $100 isn't just 23 pips, it's 2,300 pips. And you, what?
That's a lot.
Oh,
that's a lot
of money. You know, it's a very, very lot of money. So it woke me up a lot. I learned loads from that. The charts, the chartist article, I'm so glad that was my introduction to trading, because I'm a chartist now. I think if I met that man, I'd buy him several beers, shake his hand, and share secrets with him.
Nice, that's awesome. Well, hopefully one day you will. You never know.
You never know. You never know. I did meet other of my heroes. I met Claude Littner and Baroness Brady from The Apprentice. I met them in London at an airport, and I got a selfie with them and everything. It made my day. That
lovely, isn't it awesome? Going back to, you're saying hopefully I've made a difference to some people, but I can guarantee you have. I've been on your calls, unbeknownst to you back in the day of IM, and it's definitely had an impact. Like I said, you helped me with my first trading plan, which has now evolved, but that was the start of it. And so I think sometimes you have that, like, you've got your idols that you've looked up to, but then you will be someone else's idol. Like, even for me, having you on this podcast is a bit like, oh, look, I get to meet someone who's had an impact on my life. So you never really know where that chain comes. So, it's definitely, it had an impact. That's for sure.
Thanks very much. Paying it forward's what it's about. Nice one.
Exactly. That's kind of my approach. Is I always say you have to be one arm up, one arm down. You only need to be better by a little bit and just help one person come up and just reach up to one mentor and try and grab, a little bit of information that you can. And so this is why I've come up with this podcast, to try and reach up to people like yourself who've got that skill level and that mindset, and just hand it out to the people that are just that one level below me, and kind of share, as you say, paying that information forward.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you.
So 2004, you picked up this magazine.
Yeah.
And it was only by 2005, a year later, that you were buying out the company that you worked for through your trading. So tell us a little bit about how, because that would have involved learning the skill, putting money in, and growing an account to a substantial amount that you could pay for that. That's a very quick time frame, 2004 to 2005. Can you talk us a little bit through that and kind of what your mindset was? And I'm not sure what.
Since then, I've developed the Gates system. And the Gates system allows you to measure and manage your lot size. I didn't have that back then. I didn't know. So I went in straight away at $50 a pip. And then the very next trade I took, it was some days later, but I'd read more and I didn't reduce the stake. I went again 50, and then I scaled in. And I'm absolutely going to be honest with you. In my first year, I made more than 1.2 million from my trading. Ooh. And if you Google it, there's a company called World Spreads. They went bankrupt. Yeah, that was me.
That was you.
I did that. I bankrupted. Well, I think I did. I certainly had a hand in it because they paid for me to buy that company. What happened is they gave me this deal. They said, if you open a platinum account, we know you're a trader, we'll give you a 0 pip spread. Oh. I knew what that meant by then. Yeah. So I said, wait, what? A 0 pip spread? Would you give me that all day across the board? What, on every market? Like Dow, NAS? You'll give me a 0 pip spread? Yeah, absolutely. But you got to put $5,000 in. $5,000. No, there you go. Boom, an account. Oh my word. I fleeced them. Absolutely fleeced them. And why not? Yeah, I took some losses.
Yeah.
But I'm a coward. I'm an absolute coward. So my losses were small. And then when it started to run, I know how to move a stop loss up, let it go. Boom. Yeah. I know how to scale in and let it run. And that's what I
Nice.
was doing. That's the reality. Now, if I was starting now, I'd want someone like me to show the gate system, whereby you can start with like 50 pence or 50 cents and then
Mhm.
go to €1 or $1, and then 2 and 4 and 6 and so on, and increase it gradually, and with, halve it if you get one wrong, to keep you safe. I had no safety net back then,
Yeah.
but I didn't know enough, and that's the honest truth. By 2005, when I bought the company, my learning curve was just ballistic. I knew
Imagine.
so much. I think I've forgotten more than I ever know now.
Yeah.
But now I've tweaked it so much that it's just, well, there it is. You going? Okay. Does that agree with that? Well, you're off then and all. And
Nice and simple.
it is. It's very simple now. It's a lot more simple. And the stakes, because of the gate system, it's safe as well as simple. And
Love that.
the other aspect of it, I take responsibility every time I sit down at the charts. And one of the mantras I live by, and it's written in one of my books, I think, if you in Trading Code 1, it
Yeah.
says, I alone make this decision. And the decision was to quit my job, sell the company, and be a trader. I alone make this decision. If there's a price to pay and I'm wrong, then the price is mine alone to pay.
Yeah.
I
I love that.
accepted that responsibility. And even now, just saying the words, it gives me goosebumps,
Yeah.
because it's the truth. But like, own that responsibility. And with it comes great power, because now you're in control. You're in control of you. You're in control of everything. What time do you want to get up? What time do you want to go to bed? What time do you want to work? What time do you want to play? It's your choice, only your. And it's so fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. I was reading your book just this morning. I've kind of gotten about 2/3 of the way through, but when I read that line, one of my questions to most of my guests is, did you have a mantra that helped you through these things? And I read that and it gave me chills, because I often talk about two things. One, fully accepting the risk. Like, people jump into trades not really realizing that they're risking actual dollars. And I think it's sort of in the background. And so I say, bring it to the forefront of the mind and fully accept that risk. But once you fully accept that risk, take responsibility as well. So
Yeah.
when you take responsibility, that takes courage to take full responsibility, but then it gives you the freedom of choice and that confidence that everything that you do is your choice, like you were saying. And if you fully accept the risk, then every decision you make is 100% yours, and you've only got yourself to blame. And that makes you learn really fast, but then
Yeah.
also makes you feel really good when those choices end up coming out on top. And you end up going like, yes, I did this because I decided to do it. And so it hit me pretty strong when I saw that mantra. So I wanted to get to that, but you brought it straight up. And I think it's a
Yeah.
great one.
Well, it does mean a lot to me. I still live by that. Everything I do in my life, I make the decisions. And I keep saying to people, we can't control the markets, but we
Mhm.
can control how we react to them. I watch
Yeah, I
these
love that.
YouTube videos. I'm a bugger for watching YouTube videos where there's people and they road rage. It's a thing in trading as well, or you're in a queue in a shop somewhere and there's a fight, and there's a fight over racism, there's a fight over something. And I think you got to take responsibility for those
Mhm.
actions. A friend of mine was talking, he was in Germany and he didn't know it was a thing, but he left a coffee cup on the table in a cafe thinking, well, the waitress will come and get that
Yeah,
because that's what they do in Ireland.
I
And the
made that
German
mistake.
man stood up and barked at him and he didn't know what was going on. And he said, I thought he was going to hit me. And I thought about hitting him, but I thought, you never know. You get some of these stabby buggers sometimes.
Yeah.
So I put my hands up and I said, no understand, but problem. And he picked the cup up. He said, I took it. And okay. And then this guy calmed down. The guy didn't have to get so shirty
No,
about it. And
they're like that here.
it's how we react is a big thing. When anyone offers me road rage for anything whatsoever, usually here in Ireland, people don't bother with stop streets. I stop at a stop street, but they come right out and then they don't go anywhere. So you find yourself on their bumper because you've been standing on the anchors for a minute, but you're still right there because they didn't pay any mind to you. Then
Yeah.
they look at you and, oh, you're so close to me. And I point at the dash cam.
It's all here, mate. It's all
That's it.
here.
Right there. You say what you like. We go to guards if you want. We don't have police. We have guards.
Yeah, right.
And
Nice.
then they usually just, off you pop, and that's fine. But I don't do road rage. I don't do aggression or emotion with the charts.
It's perfect.
When my wife's shouting at me, I just, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that takes a bit of discipline and control to get to that stage, but it's super powerful. And I talk about this two dart theory a little bit on this show. And it's basically shit happens. Anything can happen. Like, you enter a trade, it goes against you, whatever. That's the first dart. But the second, third, fourth, fifth dart that you get hit by is all up because of you. It's your responsibility. It's your reaction. And anything can happen in life, but how we respond to what happens, that's who makes us. That's what defines who we are as a person. Because same situation, something can happen. You choose to respond in one way. Someone else chooses to respond in the other way. It's like that great little, I would say fable, but the story of the twins who had the alcoholic father, and one became a CEO and one became a homeless man. And went up to the homeless guy and said, "Why are you the way you are?" And he said, "My father." And then the CEO asked the same question. He says, "Well, my father." And so they've taken the same situation. One's used it as fuel, one's used it as an excuse. So
yeah, I think that's what I did, because I was never overly proud of my dad. He drank far too much and he never paid us any mind whatsoever, you know.
yeah.
And I've heard a saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, this one did. It probably landed on a hill, still rolling.
Nice. This has been picked and shipped off to the other side of the world, right?
Yeah, still
Yeah,
going.
good on you. That's awesome. Now, I want to get into the gate system. I really would love you to walk us through this gate system, because I think it's fascinating and I think it's really important for a lot of people to get their mind around, both in business and in trading. It kind of works on that compound effect, which I think is really important. But before we get there, 2005, you shot right up to 7 figures, 1.2 million, and then bought out your company. What was your feeling when you did that? Because this is the kind of thing that I want to impart on lots of these traders, that, you know, the thing about trading is you're chasing money initially, but money doesn't do squat if it's sitting in the corner, right? You kind of utilize it to do things. And I think when we can grasp an emotion to what we're spending our money on, or the achievements that we make with the money, that can really help keep motivated, especially for some of them it's taking a little longer to learn, or you're really struggling and you're like, oh, is this really worth it? If we can associate ourselves with the emotions behind that achievement of what we're looking to strive for. So what was it like for you when you bought your company? How was that feeling? Was it a bit, must have been pretty proud.
At the time, it was great. I'm going to tell you, honestly, it was the wrong thing to do. But at the time, it was great. I own the company now. I'm the CEO. I'm the this. I'm the that. I'm the big cheese.
Yeah.
And I own it all, and it's all mine. And you all work for me. And for about 10 minutes there, it was great. And then you realize, yeah, it's yours now. You're responsible for the taxes, the insurance, the payroll, the people, the insurance and the health and welfare and safety of those people who work for you. All of that responsibility is suddenly right here, and you do feel it. You do. So you go from being an employee clocking in and doing 40 hours to being an owner, there before everyone, there after everyone. You're now looking at a 50 or 60-hour week. And okay, it's great. And I still built it and built a new factory. I thought, this one's old, it's not mine. We've rented it. That one's going to be mine. And it is a big step up. At least I'll have, and I did have a nice big office in the sky and all that. That was all pretty. But I still was thinking 50, 60-hour week, and I'm making the same money in 15 minutes as a month's way. And after a while, I started looking for an exit, and I built an exit route and made an exit plan. And I took the exit strategy in 12. I got out of it. And I couldn't have been happier with that. And my hours went down to like 6 hours a week. I still do maybe 9, perhaps 12. On a busy week, I'll do 12 hours. But it's largely one-to-ones with someone who needs stuff. Or it's the sessions, for live trades and stuff like that. But 12 hours a week over 3 days.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad life.
I'll take it. My weekend is always Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Always. No exceptions. So I like that.
Yeah, 4-day weekend's great.
Yeah, I very like that. So getting out of the company, it was the right thing to do in the right time. And you were saying about, the money just sits there. Yeah, but it sits there in my account. It's mine. And it's there to fall back on the day I decide I'm not going to work tomorrow. Or I want that car as well. Or I want that boat as well. Or whatever it is I want.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to buy it now. So tomorrow, by the way, it's New Gun Day. So,
New Gun Day. Very nice.
I got the license ticket through in the post today, and that's made me day. I'm into, you can see the archery kit and the guns and stuff behind me. I'm very into that. So I spend a fortune on rubbish like that. And if my wife knew how much I pay, you see those arrows?
Yeah.
Those arrows are £30 a pop. They're traditional medieval broadheads sent over to me. Now, if she knew I paid $30 an arrow, she would not let me fire them at the range at all, So of course I say nothing. But because you're a trader, so what? You know,
you can, that's the thing. But I mean, that's the thing. You have it there because you have the things that you want to spend it on. That's what brings you the pleasure, the toys, the guns, the boats, the everything else. And I think that's the important part is it's not just money for money. It's money so that you can buy the $30 arrows instead of having the $10 ones. Like my biological father, he actually likes guns and arrows, and I've met him a handful of times, but we always get along like really well, and I'm really grateful to have that connection. But last time I was there, he lives in New Zealand. I went over and he loves guns and archery. So for 2 weeks straight, I was shooting guns and firing arrows. And I probably lost. Lucky he didn't have $30 arrows. Let's just say that much, because I probably lost a couple.
Good bonding, though. It's good bonding. Yeah. It's good fun. I've
really
been teaching all my kids, and even my youngest, she's 8. Well, she was 4 and I put a catapult in her hand. She was 6 and there's a little bow over there. I put the little bow in it. Yeah, you can see it, I think. See that little one on the floor there?
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I put that in her hand when she was 6. She's still using it now at 9. And
lovely.
She gets a little bit bigger and a little bit more interest, and I'll give her a bigger one.
Yeah, you're going to have to get that more compression.
And she has fired a gun as well, but don't tell her mum that.
Mum doesn't know. Mum's not going to listen to this podcast.
She won't know about this.
All right, let's get into this gate system, because if you don't mind sharing that with us, because when you first told me about it, and I always say to people, if you want to really grow your accounts, you got to learn about compound interest and, do it with safety, and always telling people to think about it in percentage rather than dollars and this kind of thing. But you've got a gate system, which really kind of speaks on the same path, but is quite different and really powerful. So if you could share that with us, that'd be amazing.
I would. Can I bring it up on screen? If I join from another machine as well, would you let me in? I'll go into the link over here. I'll join from another one. Make sure that's all muted. That's all muted, unplugged. So good. Okay, I'll find your message and join here. The gate system is a spreadsheet. I built this in 2015 by request. And I'm going to go and find the sheet. I'll minimize the charts, and then I'll go trading, more, and open the gate system. I'll open the simple one. There's a simple version, and got it, and go share screen, screen 1, share, and then I'll bring him in, and we should be able to see him. You tell me when you can see him.
Yeah, there he is.
There you go. Cool. All right. I've made him big on that screen. Now, here's the deal with this. I've made it look, there's 3 or 4 paragraphs. That one's in lots, but I'm going to stick with the round pounds. Round pounds, euros, or dollars, because it's just easier for the maths on this. You can have a starting bank here, $600, 600 euros, 600 pounds, doesn't really matter. Just, it's a number, and it's the number that matters. And then we're at gate 0 here. If we want to go to gate 1, we have to win 32 pips. If we lose 15 pips, we cannot advance. We stay. We'll have lost, at that rate, we'll have lost $45, let's say, and we have to make that back by reducing that stake until we get back the $45. We'll leave it there for the moment and see if we win. Doesn't have to be in one trade. So if you have -5, -5, you're still in, you're still on gate 1. But if you have another -5, you've lost, it's a problem. You better phone me and tell me what you're doing. If you'd have a +9, a -2, a +8, a -6, a +17, +12, where are we? 38. Boom, you've achieved the necessary value. This is in pips, risk and reward. So if you lose 15 pips, you're knacked, you can't move forward. If you make 32 pips, a little bit more than double what your risk was, you will win 96 euros, dollars, or pounds. Obviously a little bit more because you made 38. That means you can move forward to gate 2 and double your stake. Okay, great, brilliant. What you'll find is you're risking less than you just made. And if you move forward to gate 3, you'll be risking less than you just made. The same at gate 4, gate 5, gate 6, and so on. You're always risking less than you just made. That's the important part. Because after trade number 1, and in fairness, if you lose $45, I'll spend that in a couple of days at Costa and Starbucks and on coffee, because I like coffee. That's just the way it is. If you're getting into trading, you need to be able to say goodbye to $50. Take the chance. take the chance, throw the dice. We are counting cards, so it isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Now, here's the beauty of this spreadsheet. Let's assume that after X amount of trades, and maybe it isn't only 10 days or 10 trades, or maybe it takes you, 5 trades per gate. Maybe, doesn't matter. A gate is a quantity of pips, not a period of time. You must hit 32 pips or you're not going forward. 31, not enough. 33, okay, you're great, you can go. But you can't put the 30, like these 6 pips extra, you can't put them towards gate 2. You still need 32 pips at least on gate 2. That's just extra money that's yours, bonus. Now, magically, you've got to gate 10 and you've got 19,672 bucks in your account. If you lose, you will lose 1,500 bucks, absolutely. But because it's a gate system that's designed to manage your money, it tells you you must halve your stake. So you get stoned back to gate 5 there, and your next trade must be at 50 bucks a pip. And if you lose, you will lose 750 bucks. But if you lose, you must go back and halve your stake. So you'll go to 25 bucks a pip, where if you lose, you'll lose 375. And then if you lose 180, and so on and so on. Now you're back to gate 1, or are you? Because you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses back to back. Normally, I tell my students and disciples and followers, you have 3 losses back to back. I want to hear from you by phone. I don't want a text. I don't want an email. I want a phone call and let me know what you've done, why you did it, how you did it, what's gone on, and let's get you back on track. After 3 losses, now you've had 6. But look, you have not gone back 1 full financial gate. You still have more money than you had at gate 9. That's how you protect your capital. And then because you're back to trading 3 bucks a pip, it's plus that, plus 96 if you win, plus that, plus 192 if you win, and so on and so on. So you're working off a higher base, thereby following rule number 1, which is protect your capital. It's the absolute top of the world. Rule number 1, protect your capital. There's no way the broker's coming back to you at the end of the week. Oh, I'm sorry, James. Did you lose all your money? Can't pay the mortgage. Here's some of it back. Don't worry. When you come right, we'll square up. Not happening.
Doesn't happen.
Not happening. And you're not going to the bank and they're going to say, oh, yeah, you've got a business plan. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we'll give you money to against. No, it's yours. Don't risk it. And if you do, risk it wisely. Count the cards, use the gates to protect your capital.
Nice. So I think that's important, that if you do have those losses and you go back to gate 3, you don't just, I've got the number that fits gate 9, so I'm back to gate 9. You have to start and build it up again.
Well, yeah, wherever you go, let's say you get to gate 5 and you've got 3672, 3672 minus 750. Okay, you've got to go back. 375, you got to go back. You got to go back. And you got to go back. Boom, you still got more than you had at gate 4.
That's true. Works
Don't
everywhere.
matter where it happens. Even if you get it wrong here, you've only lost 90 bucks. You made 96. You're still 6 bucks up.
Yeah, that's true. And so the 15 and 32, 15 risk, 32 reward, is that based because you're a really tight scalping strategy? Can you alter those numbers? Or
you could. It depends what you're trading. Obviously, if you're going to trade something like the euro dollar, where you're looking for 5 or 10 pips on a trade, you might want to reduce that to 10, in which case I wouldn't drop that below 25 still. That must always be more than 2 times that. With that changing, this has to change. If you grow that, then that has to change.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But depending on the market you're trading, that would be a sensible level for the Dow. The 15 and the 32 is sensible for the DAX, the NAS, even the FTSE. You could drop it a bit for the FTSE, but I wouldn't drop it much. I'd perhaps go with the 25, and maybe a 10 or a 12 in there. 12 maximum, probably a 10 on the FTSE, and euro dollar similarly,
Yeah, right. I mainly trade the Dow, the US 30. But even still, I think most of my time, my stop loss is around 20 to 30 points. Maybe it's more of an intraday than a scalping, because 15 points would be one trade for me, kind of. I suppose it's just strategy, and I'd have to adjust the gates accordingly.
Yeah. I think it also depends on your strategy. I've got some blind and strategies like that really would, it beggars belief really when you look at what it's capable of giving to you. My strategies. I'm looking for where I get out from that one. Stop share there and leave from that one. There you go. That one's gone.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That gate system, yeah, it really does blow my mind. And when you look at the numbers, so anyone listening on the podcast, it may have been hard to visualize that, but maybe, I don't know, do you share that sheet with anyone, or is that more of your?
Oh, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Generally, anyone who asks for that gets it free. I think you've got a copy, haven't you?
Perfect. I don't think so. You gave me one of your books, but I don't think you gave me the gate system. So
Well,
I'll get that.
What I'll do right now in our chat, I'm going to drop you a copy in the chat.
Oh, brilliant.
And you're welcome to share that, okay?
Perfect. So I'll put that in the description of this podcast, so anyone who is listening can get their hands on that and have a look at it visually, and have a play around with it, because it really, this is kind of the basis behind that compound interest and that exponential growth, and that's really what you want to make it to that 7-figure, 8-figure trading accounts if you want to grow your account substantially
and safely.
And safely, yes, correct. So you drop that to Facebook or into the Zoom?
I've dropped it in the Facebook chat there.
Perfect. Well, I'll be able to chuck that into the description. Yeah. So guys, honestly, if you're listening to this, the gate system, like compound interest, all this stuff, it's going to take you from a steady trader to a very successful trader. And I think this is the kind of thing that you really need to wrap your head around. So moving on a little bit, you went to 2015 and you sold the company in 2012. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you went full-time trading and were teaching from 2014.
Yeah, well, I just went full time from 2012, and then many of the people that were working, if you like, in partnership roles, like the people who own the insurance company that were my insurance brokers, and the people who were the cleaning company that were, all these sorts of peripheral businesses were saying, "How are you quitting work now?"
Yeah.
I don't understand. I wasn't 50 at the time, and I said, "Well, I still trade," and I told a couple of people along the way that I've been trading and I make more from that than I do from this. So I'd not really long left work, and I had knocks on the door. There's the lad who trade lives here and stuff like that. I had particularly a neighbor I was talking to. He's a soldier, and that's where the two soldiers first came from. Literally knocked on the door and asked my wife, "Does the lad who trades live here?" and she brought them out to the office. And they're the guys who first ran the gate system. I taught them it. They said they were starting with small money and what could they do with it. And I didn't know they were starting with $50, but that's what they started with, $50 each. And they had 2 laptops with an HDMI cable going into one big TV screen where they had the charts, and then they had the broker accounts on each laptop. And it was, if you buy it, I'll buy it. And, they were buying together. So they started off with 50 cents, a euro, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. They got to 64 and got it wrong. So they went 32 again, up to 64 and got it wrong, back to 32, up to 64 and got it wrong. It took them about 4 goes to get past that gate. But in 2 weeks, they turned 50 euro into 7,700 and something stupid in 2 weeks, literally. So the gates has been massively popular since with everybody I've taught. I obviously shared it far and wide once, because I used to recommend to people that, okay, you need to start with about 2,500. That's half of what I started with, but I knew that made sense. It was the right margin back then to trade the stakes we're looking for and at. But they started with $50. Wow. So that blew my numbers, the 2,500 out the water. Hence, it's $600 now. That's as much as you need to start trading. It really is. Yes. Anyway, no, you need 50 grand. You're mad in your head. You're not doing it properly.
It's wild. When I first started, it was, you need $1,000 minimum probably to get started. But now there's more and more brokers offering, smaller and smaller lot sizes. And you hear people, I think I had one lady on before, Sherry Locke. She went from $100, to 7 figures. And my mentor, Teresa, I think she started at $300 and to 7 figures. And you really don't need it. You just need the discipline and the mindset and that stability. So moving on into that kind of area, trading really is, I don't know if you agree with this, but 95% mental and mindset, and about 5% of actual trading skill. And I think lots of people, I have this idea that people, they get into trading and they start to learn the skill. And then if your mindset's already there, you can take off really, really quickly. But if it's not, it's a whole nother ballgame that you have to learn. And then it becomes learning yourself and learning how to, how you react and respond and your emotional response to the charts. And that can be, half most of the battle for a lot of people. What was it like for you? What did you find any struggles? What was your biggest like struggle or challenge that you had to face to get to where you are now in your trading?
I think the only real challenges I faced are from the outside people. You talk to your friends and your family and you tell them I'm quitting work and I'm going to do this, and everyone thinks you're mad in your head. And you just have to make that decision that, yeah, you're going to be one of those strange people. We like the dark. We like the keyboards. This is us. We are among our own people now. We can talk. We can talk about high test bars, low test bars, inside bars, and things like that. And if I said to someone if I went to school to pick up my daughter and I said, yeah, there was an inside bar earlier, they'd say, you were inside the bar, but they're not open yet.
Yeah. It's 10 o'clock, mate.
Real people don't understand us, do they? The normies, they don't understand us at all. And that's the hard bit, I find. I really thought it was more like 50-50 tech and mindset. And the reason for that came from an old jiu-jitsu instructor of mine years ago. And I think it's a famous lecture from someone else, and he just threw it at me. To stay calm and act wisely needs a strong head. To attack a superior force needs a strong mind. Both are necessary in equal proportions to remain safe in a battle or on the mat. Wow. Now, when you look at the charts, that's not a superior force? Yes, it is. So you need no emotion whatsoever. But I think it's 50-50. The mindset, for me, it's just emotion. I'm just here to do a job. There's a great line from a movie, Fury, where Brad Pitt grabs some guy out of a tank and he says, you're here to kill him. He's here to kill you. Who's it going to be? That's it. They're there to take your money. You're there to take theirs. How are you going to let it play out? Because it is up to us how it plays out. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We can't control the charts. All we can control is how we respond to the charts. The same kind of, as you said, you can only control your response. And at the end of the day, the chart's going to do what the chart wants to do.
I shared my journal with people in the live sessions, and they know, in my live sessions where I'm allowed to say, I'm taking this trade, I'm locking in, I'm coming out there. They know. This year, so far, it's July, I've taken 3 losses.
Wow, that's not bad.
3 losses. Last year, I took 4 in the whole year. And my biggest loss last year was, I think it was 8 pips. This year, it's 5. I'm on a 5-pip loss.
How are you getting such small losses?
Because my biggest win isn't 5 pips. My biggest win is somewhere like 200 or 300,
That's a good ratio, if you're small.
Yeah, I'll take that. So it really is up to us. And we do have the tools. They are absolutely there. The charts are amazing. You need a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary indicator. 3 indicators all the way to the bank, dude. That's it.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Only 3 to 4 losses. That's impressive. I'm looking to get to that one point. Let's talk about, so you touched on it there, you're journaling. So you journal. Let's talk about a couple of things that I think are must-haves for trading. So trading plan, journaling, understanding like a gate system or risk management. What would you put into this kind of list or category that
a business plan?
Must have?
You want a blank or a business plan? I share one with my guys. I can give you the copy of that as well if you want. A business plan. It basically has, what you're here to do on one paragraph, how you're going to do it on another. And I think there's 5 paragraph, tabs at the bottom. And on one of them, it literally is, what is your expenditure each month? What is your income each month? And it gets you to measure and manage you. In any business, there is no more true sentiment or truth than what gets measured gets managed, including and especially you. So we measure our time and our efforts. That's it. We measure what we spend and what we earn. Bonus. It really is the right thing to do. I've got a business plan and I've got a budgeted forecast business plan, not just looking at what I've done, but what I still intend to do. It goes out about another 5 years yet, Oh,
wow. Yeah. So it's that kind of visualization. This is what I'm going to get to in 5 years. And it's already planned out. You just got to follow the steps.
I roll it on. I add another year. At the end of this year, I'll spend a little bit of time over Christmas extending it for another year. So I'll always be looking 5 years into the future.
Oh, I love that. So you've got a business plan which is different from your trading plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So business plan, trading plan. Tell us a little bit about your journaling. What do you do there? Is it just tracking your trades, or do you more emotional, or
These days, I've no emotion whatsoever, none at all, none.
That's brilliant.
It's all gone. I think someone called me a psychopath not so very long ago because we were in a trade together and it was a big £100 of paper and we're letting it run. And are you really not feeling anything with this? We're in it. It's up. What's there to feel? This is what we're here to do, like, you know. And he said, "You're a psychopath," but I think the right word is sociopath.
Yeah.
Because I've no intentions of hurting anybody or anything, but I've no feelings on many things now. I love me kids. I love me wife. Me dog. Yeah, I love me dog. But if suddenly there was no food in the freezer, she's got hell of a hindquarters and have a pointy pot.
Got a barbecue in the back or something like that?
It would, yeah. I'm sorry. It's just I've got to be real. I'm very much a realist. That's
Nice.
it. I'm a realist first and foremost. And I think that makes a difference as well. I've lived in my youth with nothing, literally not knowing where I was going to sleep that night.
Yeah.
But if I get out the co-op with the tin of beans that I was nicking for me dinner and stuff, because that's how I supported myself once my sister left. And before that, she was we shoplifted. That's how we made our food when we were young. Our
Gotta do what
parents
you gotta
didn't do anything for, that was it. It is what it is, I'll take it on the chin. It's not a good thing. It's not an I'm proud of, but you survive, don't you? You either survive or what, back then in the 60s, what you going to do? Where are you going to live? How are you going to live? We all fell through the cracks. That's the way it was back then. So, yeah, I'm a realist and I've no emotions, mindset and strategy 50-50.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know if I answered your question there because I know I went off topic. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I think it's really good to have that also, that understanding and that realization that this is where I came from. You can't hear me?
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
Hang on. I think it's me, my microphone. There you go. It might have been me. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for that. Yeah. I think it's really good to have that realization or that place where you came from, because I think that will make you find a lot more gratitude in where you are now. You've had like, this is what I had to do. This is where I came from, this survival mode.
Yeah.
And that gives you this kind of realization that, life can be really shit and it can be tough. And so what I've got now is amazing and I'm grateful for it. And, you can really live quite well in that. I mean, I came from Western Australia, Perth, and I think very few people in that part of the world struggle, even though lots of people say they do. And, they complain about a lot of things. And not everyone, there's ranges for everyone. But when you do have that hardship, it really does bring out that gratitude and you have that ability to go, I don't want to go back there. I want to keep making it and keep going and keep pushing and help others get out of that because I've experienced what it's like.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very strong driver, if it gets tough. And I often say this to people who are like on the edge, like, oh, I don't know if this is for me. And I'm like, well, what's the other option? Do you want to go back to the office, or do you want to go back to, I'm sure you wouldn't go back to stealing cans now, but do you want to go back to that lifestyle? And I think that is something that people can kind of take away a bit and go, right, is this worth it? I think we were talking about this before, the time spent learning to trade, people spend years at university learning a degree that will maybe get them 6 figures. You put that same amount of time into trading and you're going to be far better off working 12-hour weeks, at a much higher figure. So
I think the difference for many, it shouldn't be, is it for you? Isn't it for you? How can it not be for you? How can the thought, the way some people say, oh, I've got 3 months salary in the bank. 3 months salary isn't a long time.
No, not the way things are going.
Some people say, oh, I've got 3 years salary in the bank. Great. 3 years. That's pretty good. Yeah. If I stopped earning right now, my wife and my daughter would never have to work in their lives. That's the way it is for us. And that's because of how I've managed with my trading and even buying the business. I bought it, I sold it, still trading.
Yeah.
I
think it becomes that it really is an unlimited money maker. It's an unlimited source. Yeah. And and it's also a skill set. And this is what I love about it, is it's something that people can't take away from you. You go to a business, it shuts down, the banks foreclose, you do all this, but this is a skill set that you've now learned, that even if you lost everything, if somehow it was all gone, you could be like, right, give me $50. I can take my gate system. I'll be back on the charts. And back to
That's
it,
it.
in
I've
however
said that
long.
many times. If I was to lose it all in the morning, if this wife was to leave me and take everything,
Mhm.
leave me with $50. I'll be all right.
At
I
least give me
taught my
50 bucks.
son-in-law to do this. He arrived in from South Africa. That's where him and my daughter were living, where she was born. They
Yep.
arrived here in 2017, and it wasn't long. I taught him to trade. It wasn't long before he'd learned. He did well. I made him do the homework because he sat there with me in the office and he did the homework. And then about 4, maybe 5 months after they got here, they had enough to get their own place, an apartment. They've recently bought a house, and it's a 4 bedroomed house with 3 bathrooms. It's a really nice house. I like what
Lovely.
they've done. They just bought a Range Rover Evoque. I like what they're doing. I didn't like that they bought 4 motorbikes, but he races them and he's good at it, so it's okay.
Your
Um,
passion.
yeah, I like that they can do that. They can do that because of what they've been taught to do,
Yeah.
and I'm very, very pleased for them. It's all on them, on him. It's not because well, I didn't say, look, here's 50,000 bucks, go and set yourselves up. I said, do it and do it properly from the start, and let
Hmm.
me keep an eye on you and make sure you're doing it properly. And he did, and the rest is all on him, so I'm really, really pleased for that.
That's awesome. And I think kind of what you touched on there is, trading's, and I talk about this a bit. I actually wrote an ebook. It's a very short one, but at the end, I speak about this. And trading's more, it's not, you kind of trade. Yes, you trade to trade because it's fun and you get used to it, but it becomes a vehicle to kind of fulfill any other dream or aspiration that you have. Once you learn trading, you then
Yeah,
have the money and the time to go shoot arrows, to shoot your guns, to drive your four drives. Like, I want to get my pilot's license. It's on my vision board right here. I want to get my pilot's license.
yeah,
Things like that become real. And rather than just having a dream of like, oh, one day I'd like this, it's like, well, if I learn to trade, I can do all of those things on that list. And
yeah,
very quickly, it becomes that vehicle to do whatever you want, really.
exactly. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about it, the freedom. I called it the freedom to say no,
Nice.
because you can be asked to do things and no,
Don't want to,
uh,
don't have
but
to.
we'll give you this. I don't care. No, no,
Don't need it. Thanks, mate.
yeah,
So we spoke about your biggest challenge, which was other people, and I think that comes. A lot of people say that is that oh, you're mad. What are you doing? Like, this is never going to work out, and then it does, and they're all like, oh my god, you're right. How do you do this? Um, I spoke about your mantra, as in I choose. This is my responsibility, which is great. Do you want to say the whole thing again? I can't.
go on, yeah. I alone chose this path. Me, I make this decision. If I'm wrong and there's a price to pay, it's mine alone to pay.
I love it. It just gives me a bit of a chill. I think it's very powerful. So on this show, we're trying to like to get a bit of a perspective on success. Like, I truly believe it's kind of a state of mind. I feel like identity and belief systems and stuff like that really have a big role to play in your success, in entrepreneurship, in business, but also in trading. And I often say that, a trader is only as good as they believe they can be. What would you say, to traders especially, who are finding that struggle of like, oh, I don't know if this is really for me? Because I always say this is the place to start. If you don't believe you can do this, then you are correct. I think Buddha or
Yeah.
Confucius says, whether you truly believe you can or you truly believe you can't, you are correct. So what would be your advice to someone who's kind of sitting in that like not quite believing phase?
Very often I've read in many business books, and I do agree with it, that the only thing holding you back is you.
Mm-hmm.
That you are your limiting factor. You are the thing that holds you back. You are with whom the race is. It's just you. You're racing you. You are your competition. You are your best mentor, and you're your biggest idiot and block and everything. So you tell yourself that you can, and you tell yourself that you will, and set your sights on doing it. And I learned from early, growing up, I'd see my friends with, oh, look at his dad. I wish I had a dad like him. When I grow up, I'm going to be a dad like him.
Yeah.
Or, oh, no, he's a better dad. I want to be like him. Never like him. He's that one. No, no, no. Or like, and then the different dad. And then I thought, hang on, why do you have to be one of the dads who live in the street? Oh, and then the
Open it
world
up. Yeah.
explodes and you realize you can be whatever you want to be. I still
Yeah.
tell my little girl I'm going to be a spaceman when I grow up. Now, it's quite probable that that won't happen, but I might yet go into space. Once the
Yeah,
war ends, yeah, you can go in a MiG in Russia. You can go and get on a MiG and into a MiG in Russia and be taken up into space in a MiG.
that's
And it's
amazing.
not expensive, about 10 grand or something a pop. So I might yet do that, but I'll have to wait until the war ends and everything, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it. It's definitely on my bucket list. They've got like this new, I think it's like eco-friendly or something, basically hot air balloon, which takes I think 8 people up, and it's like a 6 hour trip. It goes up for 2 hours, you're up there for 2 hours, and you come back down. And that's when I only saw it a few months ago, but I was like, that I want to do that. And so
Yeah,
maybe, who knows, maybe you can go on something like that, and you'll be that spaceman that you're talking about.
absolutely.
Just doesn't
Yeah,
have to have the
yeah,
exact way that you think of the
yeah.
old-fashioned space rockets. It's still
Yeah, you
spaceman.
really don't have to limit yourself
Yeah.
to anything at all. You really don't. You decide who you want to be. You decide when you want to be it. And then you
Mm-hmm.
draw a line from here to there and follow the plan.
Follow it. Yeah, I love that. It really is that simple. This is where I am. This is where I want to be, and this is how I'm going to get
Yeah,
there. So this is what I got to do.
yeah,
End of
yeah.
story. I think it comes down to a lot of those limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging. And I was reading in your book today that you were mentioning a little bit about self-sabotage. Did you have to deal with any of the limiting beliefs or any kind of self-sabotage that you found? And if you did, how did you get over that?
Thankfully, I didn't. I never found that I didn't want it. I usually feel that people feel unworthy or they feel guilt. Well, I grew up in Liverpool. We don't really feel guilt in Liverpool. You know what I mean? I was offered. I took my wife's car in for new tires, and the guy said to me, "You need to put different wheel nuts on because the Volvo one they always fail. They're no good to you, them." And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "All right, yeah, but we're going to Liverpool next week, so wait until I get back and I'll do it then." And he looked at me like I was joking. Not joking, going to Liverpool, mate, leave them locking nuts on it. So, I know about guilt, but I don't have any. I've got it and they haven't. That's their problem.
It's
They
on
could have
them.
had it. I've got family and friends who said, "Why didn't you tell me about this? Why did I did?" But well, you didn't want to know.
You
You
didn't,
weren't
yeah.
interested. It's too late now. That's it. The ship sailed. You weren't on it. Not interested. Leave me alone. Well, can I borrow it? And you'd be amazed at how many people. Can
You can
I?
borrow
Can I just borrow this? I'm going to lose the house if I don't borrow £8,000 off you. Ask someone else.
it. Makes sense. I
Tell one of
mean,
your kids. What do I care? And I know that's sociopathic again, but you'd had the chance. I would have taught you way
yeah.
back when I was teaching. I would have taught you. I'm not that interested anymore.
Yeah, missed opportunity, really. It's funny
Yeah.
you bring up that psychopath or sociopath, because when I was talking to someone, this was more in the network marketing when I was trying to recruit people, which I was pretty bollocks at. But I spoke to someone, he goes, "Nah, traders, all successful traders are psychopaths." That's the end of it. And he just left me at that. And I was like, I
Okay.
mean, I disagree, but I can't argue to some extent.
I wouldn't say psychopath,
Yeah,
but
it's
I
more
would border on saying, okay,
sociopath.
sociopath. I
Yeah,
got issues like, yeah, I don't care. And I
it's
don't care.
who I am. Love it or
Yeah.
leave it.
But, when you look at the state of the world, I was in 2 war zones so far. And so I walked through 2 wars
Oh, wow.
and I've seen how people treat people.
Yeah.
People talk about heaven and hell. People do worse things to people than hell would ever dream of. You think they can come up with something worse than we come up with for ourselves? Not a chance. I think
Yeah.
we're all at some stage order the sociopaths because we watch the news,
Yeah.
and then we have that,
Influence.
what is it, oil protest, just stop oil. And there they are walking up the street, stopping ambulances and buses and regular everyday people from going about their lives, creating misery and pain. They're probably going to glue themselves to my front door in the morning. That's okay. It's New Gun Day. But why
Perfect.
aren't they gluing
Moving
themselves and
targets.
chaining themselves to the government buildings?
Yeah.
Because the government is still shipping tanks all over the bloody world. And you're saying, oh, but you driving your Jaguar to Tesco's is killing people. What? And that tank's not going to shoot anyone? No. That tank's on diesel, same as me, but he's got a bigger engine and he's
Yeah.
pumping out smoke. Bugger off and bother them.
Yeah.
Will you stand in front of a tank? No, get out the sudden way then. And I know that seems harsh, but that's what's real.
That's the reality. Yeah,
If these
exactly.
people aren't being real at all, there's no reality in them whatsoever. They've just got this dream. Oh, look at my orange dust. Oh, I'm making a difference. You're not. You're being a pain in the arse. You know, that's the reality. The difference would be if you went and glued yourself to a minister's car, because the last time that happened in Ireland, there was notice taken. There was a minister whose car was surrounded and people wouldn't move. You stop in here until you deal with the issue. And she was locked in a car for like 3 or 4 hours.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one
there
way to
was
do it.
a security detail and she wasn't on her own, but she was stuck in the car for 4 or 5 hours listening to people complain. That's how they should complain. Not to the likes of you and me on our way to Tesco's for our shopping. Piss off
Yeah.
and leave us alone, you know?
What's me not driving to the shop's going to do anything? I mean, it's a start, but it's not really helpful. That's for sure.
You know,
That's great.
yeah,
So,
all people need to be realistic. And if that's what is it? What did I say? Sociopathic? Then I'm sociopath. I think I'm a realist, though. That's what I really think I am, a realist.
I think it's important to have that kind of realism. I think sometimes the world gets filled with fluff and bollocks and people
Yeah,
being too nice and cautious and
yeah,
political correctness. And sometimes the truth just needs to be said and people just need to fucking deal with it and just get over
yeah.
it, really.
You know, the next time, anyone who's watching this, the next time someone asks you that really deep question, oh, look at this glass. Is it half empty or is it half full? Hey, there's something in it and I've got one. Bugger off.
Yeah, it's refillable and usually it's full of beer. That's all I
Yeah,
want to
that's
know
it. You know,
about.
that's what you say. There's something in it and I've got one.
Yeah.
That's the realist approach.
Yeah. I think it's true. And I think there's always this debate. I like the answer, it's refillable, because the truth is sometimes you have a shit day and sometimes you are overflowing, but
Yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter because it will change and you're not stuck to a ground to anything unless you choose to be, like you just said. The only reason you're stuck in a half full, half glass is because you can't be asked to go and fill it up at the tap.
yeah.
Right. On your journey from 50 or 5,000 to 7 figures, was there a point where you were like, holy shit, this is incredible. I've made it. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
that's where I said I shouldn't have bought the business.
that was the time.
I made a dumbass move buying that company. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh,
I
wow.
really shouldn't. You know, within 2, maybe 3 years, I realized less than that. Maybe within 6 months, I thought, what a dickhead. If I hadn't bought that, I'd have all that money and I'd have kept all my time would have gone into trading because every time I wanted something, oh, I want a new forklift truck, I want a new this, I want a new that. Every time I wanted something new, I brought my laptop into the office and I traded and then I went and bought the something new. That was how I was doing things. Oh, you idiot.
That's how you're doing business, is trading to buy stuff for your business when you could have just been trading to buy stuff for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's so funny. Do you remember what you spoke about? Obviously, you got the magazine. You were like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then you made a bit of money pretty quick. Did you have like a why behind why you wanted to get into it? Or was it just, this is a cool way to make money and let's see how far it goes? Or were you like, I really want to change, and you had that why that kind of kept you going?
Well, no, the why initially was that, oh, it's going to cost me a fortune to run my car. I'm going to buy oil and that'll help me run. That was really all it was. I'll
Yeah.
just make extra so I can afford to buy the oil because obviously the price at the pump goes up massively, doesn't it, with the rise in oil? And that was literally the initial motivation. But then when I realized how much 5 grand profit in a couple hours, that's a lot of oil. That's
Mm-hmm.
my fuel bill for maybe 10 months, I think, as at then. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought, okay, this is a bit ridiculous now. I can do a lot more with that money. And
Yeah.
I did.
And then I suppose from there, again, as you said, don't limit yourself. What else can I get? What
Yeah.
guns and archery can I
Every
buy?
time I want something new, I trade for it. I don't draw on savings. I place some trades. I take the extra money and I'll buy whatever it is I'm looking for.
Yeah, nice. It's a smart way to do it. You actually, we spoke about this. You're not the one for 8, 9 figure trading account, are you? It's kind of like,
No.
this is how much I've got. This is how much I risk. Tell us a bit
Yeah.
about that.
Once it's in my bank, it's mine and it's preserved and it's safe. And I know brokers, oh, your money's in a separate account and it's safe and all that. But if they go bang, it's going to take you at least 3 months, maybe 6 to get that back.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to withdraw and I keep in my broker account only enough to cover my maximum stake plus a half, a little bit of margin in case I do slip back. That's it. And then every day, one, maybe two withdrawals. And every day it's in my bank, not theirs.
Yeah, wow. It's definitely, I mean, it kind of makes sense I mean, if you're using the maximum lot size or your maximum lot size, let's say, if you don't want to grow to, once you've hit that maximum lot size, anything over that's kind of really pointless. You just need enough
yeah.
capital to look after the maximum
And
lots.
it's safe in my bank. Some of these brokers now are all going offshore with the margins thing. So they're in, they're regulated, but they're in countries where they could disappear, Cyprus, the Bahamas, and places like that. They could disappear. And just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to take my money. So I never understand it when someone says, I'm trading an account worth this much, unless they're a hedge fund with 2 million in it. Okay. But if you're just a retail trader like you and me, I don't understand the point of building an account up to, 100,000 even, never mind a million. Keep withdrawing, keep the money in your savings bank account. It's yours, it's safe, it's in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Again, like anything over the max lot size to me doesn't really change much of your account, does
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about self-sabotage and negative self-talk and stuff, and you were saying you're quite lucky you didn't really have much of that. Was there any other aspects? So we talked a bit about journaling, and I think we kind of diverted from this, but is your journaling, so you got your trading plan, you got your business plan, and you got your journal and your gate system. When you journal, do you journal just like the trades, or do you, how do you journal, shall we
These
say?
days, only the trades. I literally have, and I'll open up the journal here, file, journal of trades. All I record on it is the time of entry, the market I was trading, whether it was a buy or sell, the stop loss I used, the target I had, and the pips I took from it. That's it. That's literally all I have on it nowadays. I used to have another, like a wide, what's that called, column for notes, as in how did you feel, what was good, what was bad, did you meet all the rules. But now these days, if I don't feel just normal, flat, bored, I'm not trading. So that's
Yeah,
pointless writing that. I'm gonna copy paste bored, bored,
bored.
bored, bored. Don't think so. So yeah, that's all I need on my journal these days.
It's interesting you use that word, because I think a lot of people don't become successful because boredom gets in the way. And I think when you get to a certain level, yes, when you get into trading at the start, it's exciting, it's fun, you're winning money, like all this sort of stuff. These emotions do come up, but we want to try and reduce that as much as we can, because those emotions are what's going to make us not grow. But then I think it gets to a certain point where you realize that the boredom, the continuous monotonous rule following that is the same all the time does get boring. But that's what actually makes the money. So we kind of have to get to that boredom stage to have that continuous success without the emotion. And I think boredom is kind of a target place. It's like, let's get bored with this, because then I'm not going to get fluctuated by my emotions, and I'm not going to get manipulated by the charts.
Boredom is very good. There's an old curse, isn't there? And it says, may you live in interesting times. And it's a curse because interesting times are times of war and famine and plague. If you read in history, the only interesting times were war and famine and plague. So when
Wow.
you're bored, you're not living in interesting times. This is good. The excitement can come later. Draw the money, go up in that balloon, buy the next car you want, go gun range, go and enjoy yourself. That's where the excitement comes in. If you feel you need excitement, do one thing every day that scares you. If you're scared of spiders, it's dead easy. Find a spider web and pick up the spider. Hold it in your hand every single day. Obviously not a black widow, but a regular little house spider or something, and pick up a bigger one until okay, that's too big. You've had your rush, have you? Okay, put it down and now go trade.
Sit on the
That
charts.
will make a difference.
That's true. I think if
Yeah.
you're doing trading for the rush, you're definitely in it for the wrong reason, and it's probably going to be
Yeah.
a really hard road to success for you.
That's it. Go get your little spike elsewhere and then come back to it. That's if that's
Yeah.
what you need. If you need that spike.
So I got a few like quick fire questions to wrap things up, and then a couple of questions which I ask everyone just to get the brain working. But before we get into that, this is more a personal thing. Can you tell me a little bit more about your? I watched a bit of your live sessions because that's where I started, but I'm just fascinated with your style of kind of trading, because you talk about only like 2, 3, 4 pips loss and then making 8, 10, 15 pips. Like, what is your kind of target and stop loss? And with spreads on US 30 being like 1 to 2 points, how do you manage to get such small
Well, I've got
losses?
a pro account. I have 3 pro accounts, and
Mm-hmm.
my biggest spread is 1 pip.
Okay,
Usually it's
nice.
0.6, 0.8. I do get less, but it's a pro account, so that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Um, that's the spreads issue dealt with. The margins and targets. NAS would be my favorite market. It moves nicely. I don't know. Do you know about the TODs?
No, I don't know about
Okay,
that.
I've developed or I've released the information recently about TODs. TOD stands for time of day.
Okay.
And throughout the week, we have as at now about 60 TODs during the week. That's like 12 per day. But Thursday is quite an intense day for it. So there isn't really 12 every day. But thereabout, it averages out. So the people who say I always get caught out in range, I say, well, do you know about the TODs? Yeah. Why weren't you trading then? So because there's the London Open breakout, there's the Dow Open, there's the NAS Open, there's the NAS reversal, there's the NAS reversal, then there's the Dow reversal and the 8 o'clock, bugger. There's the Dow now, there's a TOD around now on the Dow, and I wasn't going to trade it anyway, I was only going to watch it.
All
But
right.
this stuff happens every week, every day, every week. They're there all the time. When you know it's going to happen, why aren't you just there at the chart when it's happening? Oh my God.
Is it
It's
take
just
off?
so pretty. When you know it's going to happen and then it happens, it's like, yeah,
Music to the ears. Well,
yeah.
so this TOS, is it like a list of times that you have for certain trades or something
Yeah,
like that?
I keep on my phone here. There's notes trading. Where is it? Notes. I'll open it up if I can get in. Notes, notes, notes. There you go. Trading plan and notes. I don't know if you can see. Probably not. It's too
Not
bright,
quite.
isn't it? But down there's a list of 16. But some of them are daily. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 a daily. So that's 5 8 to 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 47. Okay, so it's not 12 a week, 12 a day then. But I thought it was more for some reason. I've missed one. Another one of these must be daily because there were 59 last count, which is close enough to 60
Yep.
TODs a week. And one of them's kicked off there 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes ago. And already it would be offering you okay, only about 20 pips, but hey, they're your pips.
That's not bad. That's almost
That's
enough.
it.
That's half a gate.
I have a target of about 50 pips in a day.
Hmm.
And I do have a maximum daily allowance for a loss, and it's 15, but I haven't hit it in the last few years. I've never had a 15 pip loss. I'm so
Wow.
sorry. But
That's okay.
now everyone in my group who trades that TOD right now will be doing what I'm doing. You know, it's
Smiling.
really nice to see. And I'm glad I looked at the clock and the
Yeah,
chart.
that worked out well. So, is there a chance I can get a list of the TODs as well in the other bits of information you're sending?
You see, the TODs with great power comes great responsibility, doesn't it?
That's
There's a
fair.
little bit more to the TODs than
Gotcha.
just that there is a move then. You need to know it might be a little bit late, it might be a little bit early. So you need all your usual suspects.
Hmm.
So I'll share it with you, but I'd
Yep.
like you to keep it to you
Of course.
um, because it needs responsibility. If someone's efficient and effective, they'll understand that this is a time to look for a particular direction, a particular move. It's a down on the Dow now, and there it is. And then it'll be followed by a little bit and then an up. It's the way it goes. A couple of Thursdays ago, it was a beautiful butterfly, and that it got added to the TODs good and proper then, like.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Well, yeah, I'll keep that to myself, and very grateful for having access.
Cool. It's
Um,
just that some beginners will think it's the be all and end all, but you
of
need to put
course.
some effort into it, like, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand that. There's definitely different levels of stages you can get information and utilize
Yeah,
it before it just confuses you and turns it against kind of conflicting
exactly.
ideas.
Yeah.
Just one thing I want to touch on, which was I think we spoke about last time, which I did love. You've got a few strategies, and you teach a lot. And then you had an instance where you had sold one of your strategies, and
Yeah.
the partner didn't really play their half of the game. Do you want to just discuss that little story briefly? Because that
Yeah.
bit's great.
Well, it wasn't so much a partner as a company. I'll name and shame them. I don't mind. A company
Love
called
it.
Trend Signal in London, and I sold them what is known as the Dynamic Edge with IM. It was called the DT2 with them for
Hmm.
Dynamic Trader 2, and they bought it, and they were supposed to pay £4,000 for it. They sell it at £4,000 a pop to individuals. And
Wow.
that is like, okay, if your son wants one and your dad wants one, it's 3 licenses or 2 licenses, it's one each, even you're in the same house. I
Wow.
think that's a bit over the top, like, But they only ever paid me half. They only ever gave me 2,000, and they didn't like that I was teaching people about the MACD and divergence and how it can help you with these hopper combos and things like that. There was a lot of things they didn't like. That's complicated for some of our older members. Well, they need to wrap their head around it if they really want to do well at this. They want it for a pension, I assume. They need to know.
Yeah.
And they were always accusing me of discretionary trading. And I said, that's just because you don't understand the rules. There are rules and you haven't got them. That's it. You really don't understand, do you? And I'm very disappointed in that. So we fell out and I stopped working with them. And then I shared the strategy on, what's it, babypips.com. Forex strategies revealed. I gave it to IM. I give it away to anybody basically who wants it.
Nice.
With all the settings and everything, no problem,
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I mean,
it was just as a kind of an in your face to them for not doing the right thing with it, like.
Yeah, I mean, be a good human. It's a pretty simple aspect to life, right? If someone's going to make an agreement, then just hold up your part.
Yep.
All right, let's fire away with some of these short answers kind of questions, and then we'll get into the final two questions. So, what was one of the hardest things you had to overcome as a trader, do you think?
Only the doubt from other people.
Yeah.
Just that. And I got over it by not telling them anymore. When people now who ask me, if I meet someone and we become friends, what do you do for a living? I do as little as possible in the morning, and then I slacken off in the afternoon.
That's a great response. Basically, 2/5 of bugger all. What was one thing you wish you were told or knew when you first started trading?
I wish I'd gotten into charts earlier.
Yep.
I learned the Camarilla stuff and the equation, and I used an Excel spreadsheet to calculate where price might be, where the range was, buy here, sell there, and that was the range. And I drilled down. So instead of using the daily, I took the last 4-hour close bar, open, high, low, close, the last 1-hour bar, open, high, low, close, to give me what to do in the next 15 minutes. Boom. And that was working very, very well. But I wish I'd gotten more on charting earlier. I'd done probably a lot more than I did, and I made enough, but I would have made more in them early days.
Yeah, right. I think that's a whole new world of trading compared to what I've ever known, the initial system. I've only ever known charts.
For sure.
What is one message or lesson you wish you could just implant into those new students that are learning?
Discipline.
Discipline. Do you have a way of teaching that? Because I think discipline's very important, but very hard to teach.
Yeah. I have here this metal ruler. It's metal. And what I'd like to be able to do is hold it by the skinny end and say, when someone's got a hand on a mouse, I remember being on a session once and that noise MT4 makes when it goes whap and you've taken a trade. You just gone into a trade there, haven't you? Yeah. It isn't a signal yet. Yeah, but you said it's going to go. Yeah, but not yet. And it went down before it went up. And I said, if I was sat beside you now, I'd go whack across the back of your hand with that ruler. So, see? I'm not going to kill you, but it's going to hurt. You're going to remember the lesson.
So, I mean, that's a good discipline technique if you've got someone beside you who's got control. But do you have one for people who, that maybe a self-disciplinary lesson? Because I think it's difficult.
Yes. Here's the question. It's a question, really. Do you want the money in your bank account, or do you want to gamble it away?
Okay.
Make your choice, because discipline is the difference.
Interesting.
You're not on a roulette wheel here. You're not letting it spin and picking black or red. You're not doing that. You're counting cards at blackjack. So choose wisely, count properly, and be disciplined about it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think that comes down to really accepting the risk and realizing what you're doing. I've actually got on my desk a $200 euro bill and a picture of my lovely wife and brand new baby boy. And I have it on one side. And every time I take a trade, I have to pick it up, look at it and realize, am I willing to give this away on this chart? And would my wife and baby be happy that I'm doing that? And if I can say yes, I can put it down here and click the button. If I can't, I put it back and I move on. On my bad days, this goes under the journal and then I trade really horribly. But on my good days, it comes out and I look at it, and that's the discipline that I need.
Yeah, you need reason as well. One of the things I say, have reason to enter a trade. If there's no reason, don't enter. It's got to be a proper valid signal, reaching the proper score and everything, otherwise leave it alone.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So what was one of the biggest life lessons you think you got from trading? Because I think they're really relatable. You learn a lot about yourself while trading. What was your biggest life lesson?
I suppose way back. When was that? When was that? I think in 2010. It was 2010. I remember it was the year Kasia and I got married, and we
Lovely.
were staying. I used to have a suite at the Hilton in Liverpool, and we were staying there. And there was some kind of awards on. I didn't know there was some kind of awards on, but we went there and we booked, and we had our suite supposed to be ready anyway. I don't care what's going on, my suite should be ready. And we
Mhm.
got there, and there's this red carpet and lots of policemen and women and stuff. And a policewoman stopped us and says, you can't go in here. I said, I have a suite here. I'm going in. This is where I'm sleeping. It's late. I'm going to bed. And the policewoman was like, no. And then from the door, this gentleman in a bow tie came legging it along the red carpet. Mr. Leo, Mr. Leo, it's good to see you. He's coming in. He can come in. And we got ushered in. And as we got near the door, this little kid said to me, when I say little kid, he was small, he maybe in
Yeah.
his teens or something, 15, 18, I don't know. And he said, I'll give you 50 quid if you get me in. And regretfully, and it is regretfully, I said, oh, piss off, kid. I'd buy and sell you.
Yeah.
And I walked past him. And the minute I got in the door, I thought, oh, God, who do you think you are? Like,
Yeah.
really? No, this is where I grew up. And that's what I'm going to say to them. No, no. I
Yeah.
felt bad. I didn't go back out to him because there was lots of police and stuff. And obviously there was something going on that
Yeah.
I certainly didn't want to know about. But I did feel bad about it. And it did change my views. And I decided I was no longer going to be an asshole just because I had money, and I stopped
Yeah.
being an asshole. I'd like to think, anyway, I
Yeah.
stopped being an asshole. I'm sure there are many people, including my wife, who disagree.
You're always going to have those who agree and disagree, right? You got to
Yeah.
annoy a few people if you want to do things right.
Actually, I think some of the people I mentor sometimes would disagree.
So I'm assuming once you get to a certain level, when you're first learning to trade, it's all exciting growth, but then you get to a certain dollar amount and you realize that you kind of have financial freedom. Where does your mind go to after that? Like, what kind of goals or ambitions or where does your focus go to? Because money is no longer really an issue for you.
No, I always have an interest in business. I've been interested in business since. I
Mhm.
like The Apprentice. I follow Lord Sugar's Apprentice, and I watch it religiously. And I have been, if you like, you could say Dragon's Den kind of character, or
Yep.
an investor, and I've invested in a few businesses
Mhm.
and the people, to support. But I want to see a return on that. And it's not given lightly. It's that I will come after you if you just disappear with it, and I won't come after you with anything other than a shovel and a chicken wire and a boat. You'll go missing if that goes missing.
Yeah.
But do it properly, run your business properly, and let's both profit from this. And I'm happy to support you and help you. So I do that a bit. And then, yeah, I just enjoy it. I go shopping for kittens for I like Jaguar. I'm not into these Ferraris and stuff
Mhm.
like that. You can get in, you can't get back out. So anyone who's sitting in a Ferrari, especially if he's as old as me or older, he's not getting out of that on his own. That's the way it is. So I like a nice, comfortable car that I can get in and out of. And yet I want the seat to be cooled as well as heated. I want the steering wheel to be heated,
Nice.
things like that, because we have cold winters here.
Yeah, true.
So I want me creature comforts basically, but they're available, so I'm happy with that.
Nice. So kind of a venture capitalist in a sense, trying to find those businesses and invest. And good to know. I actually
Yeah.
have a plan. I want to use my trading to gain capital because I like tiny homes and environmentally friendly kind of living and stuff like that. And I'd actually like to build a business based around that and kind of expand and disrupt a little bit of the living lifestyle and the residential sector, shall we say. So maybe a few years down the track when that's in business, I can come to you and we can have a look at investments.
We'll have a chat.
Perfect. Sounds great. All right. What would be the one thing, and this is probably an interesting question for you. This is one of the last two questions that I have for you. What would be the one thing that I usually say you'd go back and tell your 17-year-old self, but you started out pretty early. You were 8 years and kind of on the tracks already. So what would be one bit of advice you'd maybe go back and tell your little 8-year-old self?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I grew up in Liverpool. I did all the right things. I stayed away from drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't finish school. I quit and I did work early. I would tell my 8-year-old self to don't bother with university at all. The whole accounting thing, I became an accountant after 3 months. That's the reality. I did a 3-month course, and then I went somewhere where they needed an accountant, well, a casino accountant, okay, but they had a brain drain and a skill set shortage. Wasn't fully qualified, got the job, qualified by experience,
Yeah,
and I
nice.
earned money all the time, all along the way. The people who go to university, they end up leaving it with debts.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well,
that's
I'm
my
one of them.
impression of it. Yeah, they have a blast, they have beers and stuff like that, but someone has to support that, and it's usually not them.
Yeah.
So I would say to my 8-year-old self, rely on you, James, because you can trust you.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, definitely. I was a university student. I went there. I mean, spent 8 years doing a 4-year degree because I had to work part-time and study. But the only help I got was from the government. The government pays out university debt. So I left university with a big beer belly, $100,000 debt. I got into a career that I didn't really follow for much more than 6 months, but I did learn how to learn, and that was a very impactful thing. I learned how to learn myself, which that's the one takeaway I've definitely got from university. And having an engineering degree kind of gives you that bit of uh, courage and a good fallback. It's got like, well, at the end of the day, I do have this degree I can, fall back onto.
Yeah.
So, but I
I
do
learned to
definitely
learn
agree.
doing that accounting thing. I met a guy named Roy. He was the maths teacher. We had a board and maths teacher in Liverpool. I copied down these 50 examples, and when you're bored stiff, we'll think, no. But Roy, he'd be writing with his right hand on a whiteboard with a Cokie pen, and then
Yeah.
he'd swap hands and carry on writing while he was explaining it, and he's still looking over there. And
Oh,
after he'd
wow.
written down the formula, he'd say, so that's the formula for compound depreciation. And for those of you with a scientific calculator, it's this button. Bloody hell, why we didn't have him when I was at school, I don't know. But I got
Wild.
100% in my maths because of him. He taught me to learn, and he taught me to teach. I
Oh,
thought
that's
it was
awesome.
brilliant, that man.
Yeah, I think once you learn something, take information, and then if you can teach it, then you've definitely learned it. I find that teaching really helps me understand the things I've learned, and if I think I can teach something I can't, I better go back and learn that thing again.
Yeah.
Powerful. Okay, last question. Basically, just to get the brain working, that I think stumps a lot of people. But if you could have the answer to any question in the whole world, the whole truth to any question, what would that question be?
What's next?
What's next? You want to know, like, afterlife, or for you right now?
Yeah, no, to what's next. I've been curious about it for a while. I don't have a death wish by any means. I don't believe in deities and things like that. I'm kind of torn between lots of nothing and energy as a choice after
Nice.
here. But that would be it. I have no other questions. Sorry, my dog's charging up and down. I've not. There's not an I want answered. I don't care. That all the questions that you really want. Why do we have wars? Why this? Why can't this end? Why can't we have peace? Why can't we have no oil? It's stupid. All of those answers. The answers is we can. We can
Yeah.
have all of those things, but we don't want them. If you follow the money wants to spend it on the things that you don't want.
Yeah.
You protesting in the street about oil, yeah. Now everything behind you is using more fuel. Thanks for that. Everyone's going to be late for work and be docked pay. It'll save the company some money. They'll have to work overtime to make it up. Thanks for that. You're really helping the wheel go round with your little protest there. Thanks for that. And the wars, yeah, how else are we going to sell guns and bullets? I can only use so many. I'll
Yeah.
go through maybe 1,000 a week. That's not that many bullets,
Not in retrospect.
but in a war, they're going to use that in a couple of minutes, aren't they? So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. All right, James Leon, I am honestly so grateful for your time. I've had a great time here. It's been great to pick your brain. Is there anywhere that you want to let people know that they can find you? I don't know if you're open to teaching anymore, or if people want to get a hold of you for that kind of thing, or if teaching's down to your small group. But where can people find you if you want that? And
Ideal to do it. You find me on social media if you want to find me. I am on it. I'm not hiding or anything. My name's James Leone. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not hiding from anyone. I am a bit selective about who I teach these days, if I'm still going to teach anyone. But yeah, everyone still gets a course and they get mentorship and they get on my live sessions. Anyone who joins, I still work for a couple of other places as well. Outside of that, as I say, I work with them. And the one thing I would like to add,
yep.
if I may, forward. I should have said forward at the beginning. And the four words are: I'm really, really sorry. And And I say that because sometimes some of the things I say are said back to me, and I think, "Oh my God, did he have the cheek to say that? How offensive!" And I know I am outspoken. I can come across as offensive and stuff like that. I apologize. I grew up in Liverpool with nothing. I swear like a trooper. I was a soldier for many years as a youngster. So I didn't have the best guidance. Even my foster mum swears like a trooper. We're from Liverpool. So I apologise if I've offended you, and I mean that sincerely. If I've helped you in any way, shape, or form, that's great.
Brilliant. I think you're far from offending. I swear quite a lot, and I try to hold it back, but I think you did a very good job in this episode. We hardly dropped any words, and I think sometimes people need to be offended to hear the truth. So don't even worry about it. I like to be as open, raw, and real as I can on these shows, and this chat today has been absolutely magnificent. So thank you so much for your time. If there's anything else you'd like to add,
No,
fire
thanks.
away.
I'm very happy. Thank you that you'd included me, and I hope it helps people. Thank you.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, you met your mentors and people you were really happy to see and catch up with. This is the same kind of experience for me. For me to sit here and have this conversation with you, someone who has taught me, someone who has guided me into my trading journey and into my trading plan and stuff like that. It's actually a real honor to be spending this time with you today. So thanks again.
Many thanks. Much appreciated that. Thank you.
All right. With that, we will end the show here.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.